Oh wow. Collectively, that's probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen since becoming a Timbers fan. Welcome back, new and returning viewers, to a post-RSL match recap video. Sorry it's a couple of days late. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I was pretty busy. Nonetheless, I'm here now filming it, and I have to say, it was bad. Very bad. As you all know, we lost 4-1. Awful performance, awful result. You know, really puts us in a bad situation in the playoff race. And I don't really know where to start this video. There are so many things to blame, or things that, I don't know, played a big part in the reason why we lost. I mean, you could blame the referee, you could blame Caleb Porter, some people have been blaming Gavin Wilkinson, you could blame the players, of course, but I don't know, it's a tough one. So normally with the post-match analysis videos, I kind of go through the key moments in the games, the goals, break them down and see, you know, who's to blame and things like that. But today, as I don't really know where to start because it was such a ridiculous game and performance, I'm going to start with this. It's a little light-hearted video that kind of takes the mick out of my predictions, which I got completely wrong, and it puts a spin on yesterday's game, all of the red cards, all of the goals, so no need to go and watch the highlights somewhere else. I've put them in here in the video. Hope you take it in a kind of light-hearted fashion. I added some sound effects to the red cards to kind of add a bit of a comedy feel to it and make it a bit light-hearted, so it's not all doom and gloom on the channel and in this video. But if you didn't want to watch it, it's about a minute and a half long, so when it begins, just skip through it and then we'll get down to the match recap and the analysis. I certainly think we have enough firepower in the attack to get through the RSL defence, even with the beast of Romando in goal.
By Sonny, Blanco gets it back. Blanco chipping far post, a sprayer, putting it on goal, just wide. Broken up momentarily, he's still going forward. Blanco, saved by Romando! Still loose in the area, Romando pounces.
And you know, hopefully our defence can stay strong and keep a clean sheet. That would be lovely. We haven't had one in quite a while.
Here's Beckerman. Trying it from distance. Gleason missed it. It's in from Beckerman. It's the opening goal for RSL. Eric Valentine's incensed, but RSL is going to go to the spot with a chance to double their lead. Plata gets Gleason to go the wrong way and doubles RSL's lead. Good touch from Plata to keep it in play. Arboleda comes back. Yep, straight right to Victor Arboleda. To figure out how you're going to get men forward. How are you? Comes away with it. Plata making a run. He was onside. Plata is through. Another one-on-one on Gleason, and this time it is 4 for RSL. Now Barnby tries to chip Romando. It's in. Jack Barnby has pulled one back, his second career goal. The shutout broken, and one the Timbers will likely want to forget.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that and it made you laugh and that you're not crying returning to the video. But to begin with, I'll talk about the lineup and how I was fairly correct in my prediction, but it was a bit interesting to see there was some surprise injuries. So taking a look at the back four and the two CDMs, I predicted the two central partnership that was Miller and Mabiala. And in front of them was Zemansky and Olam. I said that if Chara wasn't playing, then Olam might fill in there, and he did. As Chara was sadly not there, and I think it was a big reason to why we got so dominated in our own half. But then if you take a look at the left-hand side and the right, we were missing Vitas. Therefore, Valentine filled in for Vitas, so the right-back role needed to be filled in, and there was Chance Myers. Now, I have to be honest with you, at the back, we looked all over the place the whole game. I think it's that João Plata goal, just look at that, or the one that got chipped over the top. I mean, that is so poor defensively. I mean, no one followed them. It's just, it wasn't good enough the whole game, and I understand that it was a makeshift defence. I mean, Valentine playing on the left, Myers coming in for his debut in the MLS, and Mabiala and Miller never played before. You know, it was a defence that really hadn't played together before, so I don't know what to expect from them or what I was going to expect, but it just wasn't good enough when you think that they've had possibly 2 weeks to prepare for it. during the break, and you know, it was disappointing to see how unorganised at times we were. You can't just blame the back four, however, you've got to look at the two guys in front of them, the CDMs of Szymanski and Olum. Now, although these guys haven't played together before in the season and Olum hasn't really played CDM, they were really poor. I mean, they gave too much time to RSL, and that Beckerman goal is the perfect example of too much space and time, and you know, you'll get punished for that. So shortly before half-time, we all know that Chance Myers went off with a bit of an injury. I don't really know what it was. I think it could have been ankle. They haven't really confirmed yet, but it's very disappointing. I really feel sorry for the guy. I mean, you're working back, rehab program every day. You finally get back to making a start, and you get injured again. Not a lot you can do. Maybe he was brought back prematurely just to fill in the space that was left behind by Powell and Valentin not playing there. You know, it's disappointing. Again, do you then look at the physios and the backroom staff for giving him the all clear too early? So my big question about this backline is, where is Marco Farfan? Now, I know he's only 18 years old and he's featured quite a bit for T2 recently. I saw he played in the LA Galaxy game and he got a really nice assist where he crossed it in. Someone headed it near post, so fair play to him. He may have even had some school stuff going on, because I think he's still studying at the minute. So yeah, he's a busy guy, but this was a game that we kind of really needed him, and we weren't told where exactly he was. He wasn't on the injury list, he wasn't on the, I don't know, potential injury list, so yeah, kind of a weird one. If anyone knows the legitimate reason behind him not being featured in the game, let me know in the comments below. So I'll now briefly touch upon the statistics of Wednesday's game. As you can see, RSL dominates most of these stats. We'll just take a look at possession here. They got 56.5% over our 43.5. You know, and they really did keep the ball well during the game. I thought their attacking play, their defensive play in general was pretty good. That's where everyone said their weakness would be. I thought it would be, and that we'd be able to get through them and have at least good shots on Romanda, but they really limited us to half chances that really weren't going to get past Romanda, I mean, being the keeper that he is. But if you take a look at that total passes stat, you've got their 526 to our 396, almost, well, over 100 passes more. You know, it really shows how they were composed on the ball. They found space, which is poor from our point of view. And you know, they found space and they were able to keep the ball and really tied us, and that second half the game completely opened up. I mean, obviously they were going to get more passes considering the fact that we had 2 players sent off, but you know, there were 2 fairly attacking players, so defensively we still didn't really stay strong. I mean, taking the circumstance that we had 9 men, they had 10, they were going to dominate these stats, but it was still poor. And you know, it just looked like we gave up, and it was a really unprofessional performance on our end. So where does this leave the Timbers in terms of the Western Conference? We are just marginally still inside the playoffs and on 27 points alongside our Cascadia rivals Vancouver and Seattle. As you can see, it is extremely tight in the Western Conference, just above that playoff line, and you know, I really can't tell who's going to get there. I think it's going to come down to who can find the best form at the end of the playoff run, or at the end of the push for the playoffs. I think RSL have a good shout going into it, don't write them off. Yes, they've played the same amount of games as us, but I think with the remaining games, they could really go on and push. Their attack is so deadly. I mean, they've banged 4 past us, they did 6 past LA, sorry. So, you know, I really think they can go for a late push. Us as the Timbers, we're in a kind of bad position. You know, we've played more than the teams around us, so we're really going to have to win these last few games in the season. And like someone said on Reddit, it's now out of our hands. We can win all these other games, but if the teams around us win all of their games, including the ones in hand, then we will be outside of the playoffs. So we really do need a big push, and we need luck to go our way. And damn it, we need the Gold Cup to finish. We need Alvis Powell, we need Matux, and we need everybody else. We need Nagby, Guzman, but they've all made it into the semis, which is so awful for us because it means we've got more players out. But nonetheless, we need to find form, just like 2015. It doesn't matter where you come in the playoffs, you can still win the championship. So moving on to the analysis of the key moments in the game. So RSL took the lead on the 10th minute thanks to a Beckerman wonder strike. But we have to press better. I said this in a post-match analysis a couple of weeks ago, that we weren't pressing enough in that game, and we're still not in this one. I mean, it's so poor to see. It's, you know, it's a schoolboy error. Szymanski, as a midfielder, he needs to go and press the ball. I mean, when you give a man like Beckerman, you know, a USA team national player, or previously was, you know, you can see he scored goals in previous major tournaments like wonder strikes. So go to the man, close him, don't even allow him the chance to shoot. So I saw quite a few people were blaming Gleeson for this one, but in my opinion, you really can't. I mean, like I already said, he's given too much time to shoot in the first place. They should really be stopping that shot or blocking it, or, you know, at least deflecting it, something like that. But he was allowed the shot, and it was a great one. I mean, the amount of power he got, and if you watch it in real time, it's ridiculous. It just, you know, it started basically going over the bar, and then just dipped over Gleeson. Now, some people would say Gleeson was a little bit far off his line, you know, I think the commentator said that. But, you know, of what happened in the last few games, I think in that, you know, that game in Chicago, where it got whipped in and he wasn't really off his line, he was a bit back and he got caught. So, you know, I think he was kind of, you know, learning from that mistake and started on his 6-yard box, waiting for a little bit of a dink over the top, because they've got some quick players, RSL. But, you know, that didn't happen. Beckerman took the shot and it was 1-0 RSL. Next, we move on to the second half, where RSL managed to get a penalty in the 49th minute and convert. Now, if we take a look at this play as a whole, I've got 3 players to have a bit of a moan at. The initial throw-in, Arboleda, you have to stay tighter to João Plata. I mean, I know he's a fast guy, but so is Arboleda. And if you watch it, he's just too slow and sloppy. I mean, he's got to stay with the man, especially try and do a little bit better to stop the cross in the first place, but he didn't, and he whipped it in. Second man to have a blame at is Valentin. I mean, when that ball comes in, you've got to try and move your feet better and measure it. And it just seems like he kind of lost it, and he went for a little flick over his head. It wasn't good enough. Maybe just flick it out for a corner. Maybe someone's got to tell him better from the defence, whether that's Gleeson or someone, but he just flicked it on, fell to an RSL player, and then Asprilla brought him down. Now, Asprilla there, all he's got to do is try and get goal side and stand him up. He's gone to tackle him, and yes, it's a soft penalty, as the commentator says, but, you know, when you do that, you allow the referee to, at least, you know, he's going to have to make a decision. And he went for the penalty because at the end of the day, there was contact there. He's trodden his foot. Yes, the guy's fallen over like he's been shot. But, you know, there was contact and it's a penalty. 2-0 RSL. Next, we move on to the 52nd minute when things started to come off the rails for the Timbers. So Arboleda and João Plata are in a foot race for the ball, and Arboleda kind of just elbows Plata in the face and he's sent off. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a rant about this decision. All I'm going to say is this: João Plata is the smallest player in MLS franchise history. He stands 5'2" tall. Now, watching it back, you've got to admit that it was an aggressive play from Arboleda. But João Plata is so small, and I'm not having a go at the guy, but, you know, anyone that goes to kind of shoulder barge or just elbow them and nudge them out of the way, it's going to look like an elbow to the face for Plata. I think what done Arboleda over was the fact that he really swung his arm out, and it was a bit of a dangerous play. But I just think if you take that into account, it should have been maybe a yellow card. Yes, it was aggressive, but I don't think it was aggressive in the fact that he really wanted to elbow him in the face. I mean, João Plata is very small, and anyone that goes to do that, it's going to look like they're elbowing him in the face. And, you know, football goes at 110 miles per hour when you're playing, and you've got to make split decisions. I mean, I think Arboleda could see that it was João Plata, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's not going to remember in that second, that split moment, he's got to make the decision that he's such a small guy. You think that maybe have been another player, if he's not that so small, that it's just an elbow to maybe the side of the arm. But yeah, it would look like an elbow to the face, and he was sent off. And I think, yes, it was a foul and things like that. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but maybe not sending off. You take everything into account and it's a booking, in my opinion. You guys may think otherwise and let me know, but that's just my opinion. I think the referee could have done better on that decision, and it really started to cause the game to lose its control. He lost control of the game, everything boiled over, and it really ruined it. Now moving on to the 54th minute, when both Carl Beckerman and Fernando Adi were sent off. Now, Fernando Adi completely lost the plot, and not gonna lie, it was kind of funny when I was watching this. You know, we were losing the game 2-0, we already had a man sent off, hopes weren't looking up, but then this just was kind of funny, and he's been slapped or kind of elbowed by Beckerman, completely loses the plot. I mean, his head is gone, he charges over to Beckerman, chests him in the face. Beckerman doesn't really make a meal of it, to be fair. He didn't really lay on the floor holding his face and stuff. He was like, I think he couldn't really believe that Adi had lost his head so much. And, you know, from an RSL perspective, you've got to think that they would have tried to wind Adi up, the whole game. You know, he's a guy that can sometimes lose his temper, specifically towards referees and other players. And, yeah, it's exactly what Beckerman did. He gave him a little slap. I don't know if Beckerman really deserved the red card. I mean, it wasn't very malicious, but the intent there to elbow Adi or do something like that, it was there. So then if the referee's going to send off Arboleda, he's got to send off Beckerman, and then he has to send off Adi for that. It was ridiculous, kind of funny, but yeah, very disappointing. You know, as a professional player, you've got to try and keep your head, no matter how much people wind you up. I mean, you've got to look at Wayne Rooney. Back in his early career, he would always lose his head. You know, I think the 2006 major tournament where he kicked a player on the floor, I think it was Ronaldo or something, and you know, he got sent off, but he's kind of learned in life to control his anger, especially when someone's trying to wind him up. So Andy really needs to learn to control that, especially when people are trying to get under his skin, because now at the end of the day he could be facing a possible further ban rather than just one game. So we'll have to wait and see what the MLS decide, but I think he could get a further ban. The third goal for RSL came in the 67th minute, and you know, it kind of showed that we were down to 9 men. We defensively were all over the place. They found time and space in behind the defensive midfield and just in front of the defence, and a run was made through. I think it was San Marino or something like that, made it through, and just no one followed him. And when you watch him, he ran through. Roy Miller just completely gives up. Like, he couldn't care. And that's very disappointing. I think what hurt a lot of Timbers fans, it looked like a lot of the players, they just gave up. They didn't really care. And you know, that was really bad to see. If you just look at that clip, you've got Miller, he's just jogging back. I mean, you've got to sprint. You know, you're 2-0 down, but still work hard. You've got all these people watching. Certainly wouldn't give up myself, even if we were 2-0 down. But yeah, bad to see, and the ball's carried across, and you know, tough luck on Gleeson. It went off the bar, hit him in the head, but what are you going to do when the luck's not going your way? It isn't, and it really isn't for the Timbers at the moment with all the players we've got out and things like that. The fourth and final goal for RSL came in the 79th minute when a midfielder found too much time and space on the counter-attack. He played a beautiful ball to João Plata, who had the pace over Roy Miller. He chased him back, and then João Plata finished nicely. But again, I have to say, Roy Miller, you got to still do more. I mean, when you look at the clip again, he runs back with him. You know, he's running as fast as he can, no doubt about that. But then as João Plata goes to take the shot, or a couple of strides before it, you see Miller kind of give up. He just didn't even do anything. He kind of accepted the fact, you know, João Plata's going to have a shot. Let's just see if Gleeson can save it. You know, that's poor. You know, at least go all the way back with him. Keep chasing. Try and just nudge him. Give him a little nudge. I mean, to be fair, this referee could have given anything, maybe another penalty. Try and at least slide in, something like that. But he really didn't. He just stopped kind of a couple of yards before he took the shot. And it was a good finish by him. And I'll just touch on Gleeson, by the way. Some people would blame him for one of the goals, for the Beckham goal, and of recent performances, but I thought he actually had quite a good game. I mean, you see a couple of one-on-one saves that he made, a couple of diving ones as well, so fair play to Gleeson. I mean, it's the guys in front of him that keep on allowing these shots and these balls to come through, so props to Gleeson. It could have been worse, which is the bad thing. It really could, and I tweeted at half-time, I said, I mean, thank goodness it's only 1-0. We still had a chance at that point, but then, yeah, when stuff went off the rails, the sending off, the injury, things like that, it just wasn't going our way, and we got beaten pretty badly. Then finally, a bit of a bright spark at the end of the game. Jack Barmby, the fellow Englishman, in the 92nd minute, manages to squeeze a shot past Romando. Don't really know what Romando was doing. He was really slow across his line. It wasn't a very good strike from Barmby. But fair play, he come on, he worked quite hard, he got a bit of luck, the ball broke to him, he took a shot and it went in. So good on the lad, and a lot of Timbers fans have actually been saying, Barmby, you need to start next game. Like, we haven't seen enough of him. Yes, he's been injured and all that, but where would you really fit him in? Because, I mean, the attack would likely to be Asprilla, Valeri in the next game, Blanco, and then who up top? I'm not sure. It'll be interesting where he might play. I mean, in the defensive midfield, possibly. But yeah, well done, Barmby. He kept going. We got a goal, but a complete consolation goal. But good for a bit of morale for Barmby. So this brings us to the end of the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I kind of had to rush in recording it and editing it, so hopefully it's not poorly edited and it's just still up to the standard of the other videos. I've had a pretty busy weekend. I've returned back to work, waitering work for the first time in a long time since my surgery. So, you know, it's been kind of hectic for me and difficult to find the time to film these and edit, because sometimes the videos can take literally 3 to 4 hours to edit and then a couple of hours to render and upload. So apologies if it goes up late. This one, hopefully it's going to go up on the Saturday evening or Saturday midday for you guys in Portland. And then the pre-match build-up for the Vancouver game should be out maybe in the morning of the game day, so Sunday morning, which could be like Saturday night for you guys in Portland. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I'm going to film that right about now and then just edit all of this later when I go to bed. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more Timbers content and MLS content and stuff like that. And let me know in the comments below if you disagree with anything, the decisions I said about the referee, all this sort of stuff, then let me know via on the comments, Twitter, Reddit, everything like that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.